My name is Emily, and this is 108 Stitches, which is a knitting video podcast with a little bit of baseball and some other crafty things thrown in there every once in a while. Welcome, thank you so much for tuning in. Today is Sunday, January 24th, and it is just in the kind of late morning time. Sorry if you can hear Norman running around in the background. Yeah, so I live in Seattle, Washington with my husband, Office. This is not him, but this is his sweater, which we will talk about in a little bit. But yes, so I live in Seattle, Washington with my husband, Office, and also my fake pillow husband, Office, and our pup, Norman. Norman, are you trying to come here? Come here. Oh, he bonked himself on the table. Come here, buddy. He wants to say hi. He seems very active right now, so I don't think he will hang out for very long. But yes, this is our pup Norman as well. And yep, he's gone. Yeah, and I'm a little bit out of practice here. I don't remember all of the things that I'm supposed to say at the beginning here. But just thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been a while since I've done kind of a normal podcast episode. I think if you saw a couple weeks ago, I shared a stash tour type video, as well as kind of talking about my 2020 knitting goals and how I did with those, and kind of laid out my goals for this year for 2021. And so if you haven't checked that out, yeah, that's up if you want to see all my yarn that I have. And then I also, I guess in the month of December, I did a couple of Vlogmas videos. I was planning to do one per week in December, and then we ended up traveling back to Oklahoma to see our families, and with all of that and just being with family, I ended up just not really recording. So I did put up the first 2 weeks of December, so if you are interested and haven't already checked out those, vlogs were pretty new to me, so it was interesting. I think, yeah, I didn't mind the recording as much as I thought I would. It wasn't a big deal to just take my phone out and record when we were at home, or when it was just Norma and I hanging out, but the editing took a lot longer than I expected, and that was less fun than I thought it would be. But it was still fun to put the music in there, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. It's different from this, so but if you haven't and want to check those out, feel free to. And also let me know if you want to see more vlog type lifestyle things outside of just the knitting stuff that I bring to you. So yeah, anyway, getting back into the swing of it a little bit. I haven't recorded a normal podcast in a while, just kind of getting back into our routine after the holidays here in Seattle, but also because I don't have a ton of really exciting knitting content for y'all. I really have been very, very monogamous on one project, and hopefully it'll be exciting for you to see, because I don't think you guys have seen this project in a while. So, so there's been tons of progress, and I'm excited to share that with you. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with finished objects. So you all may have noticed this guy here. This morning, Nofus was actually wearing this sweater that I knit him. And I asked him if he could either give me the sweater, or if he wanted to just come and sit on the podcast, or come show it. And I thought, oh, that would maybe even be better, because then people could see what it looks like on a person. And so I kind of, asked him what he wanted to do, left him with those options, and then I went into the bedroom to put on my sweater or whatever. And then when I came back in to the living room, I thought that Noffice was sitting on the couch because I came in from the side and I thought that he was sitting on the couch here. And also Norman thought that. So like Norman was very freaked out. Like I must have missed it, but Noffice said that Norman was like growling at this at this pillow with the sweater on it. But this was Noffice's creation for a way for you all to visualize the sweater without him being here on camera. So this is my largest finished object from the time, one of my only really finished objects from the time that, since my last recording. This is the Montrealer. Oh, also, just a note, this is the first time I'm doing this podcast without having written out all my notes beforehand. Normally I do, and today I decided that I thought I could do it without, and I wasn't going to take the time to do it. So if I forget things, I'm very sorry, but we're just going for it today. So this is the Montrealer, is the name of the sweater, and the pattern is by Designs by Delz. And yeah, the yarn I used, I used Quince and Company Finch, I think I have a tag here. Lark, sorry, I'm glad I had the tag here. This is Lark Heathers in the Kittywake color. So they have like 4 grays. I remember Noffice and I talking a ton about which gray to pick. This is one of the middle ones. They have like some lighter and some darker. But yeah, I ended up using, so I originally bought 11 skeins of this. So it's worsted weight yarn, and it's 100% wool, I think. Yeah, 100% American wool is what it says. I don't know what type of wool, but yeah, so they come in 50 gram skeins, and just kind of based on the size that I picked, I think this is the second size that I decided to knit for Noffice, and so I bought 11 skeins, and I thought that would be enough, and I actually ran out in the middle of the hood edging. So I had done like the whole sweater, the sleeves, the hood, the pocket, everything. I just needed to do this edging. I don't know if you can see the edging very well, but I needed to do the edging on the hood and the edging on the pockets, and I ran out of yarn. So I had to get one more ball, and I barely used any in that ball. But so originally my plan was to try to finish this for Noffice before Christmas, and I did not do that. But then I thought, okay, maybe I'll finish by New Year's. So I worked on it quite a bit between Christmas and New Year's, and then I ran out of yarn like a couple days before New Year's. So at that point, we were about to head back to Seattle, so I just had a new skein, like one more skein shipped here to our house in Seattle, and then I finished it up like the first week of January or so. It did take me a while to block it though. But this yarn, actually, I wasn't in love with it when I was knitting with it. It doesn't feel bad, but it doesn't feel great, and it was just kind of, it was just gray, so there was nothing like super exciting to me about it, but it actually blocked out really beautifully. I was a little bit worried when Noffice had been trying it on while I was knitting it, so just like for fit checks and stuff, it was pretty tight, just like kind of in the arms and in the chest area. And when I ended up, I blocked it out and I kind of pinned out the areas that I was worried were going to be too tight. And after doing that, and then it drying and him wearing it, it looks perfect. I think the fit is perfect. I know you can't tell that because this pillow isn't exactly the same size as Noffice, but it does. I think it fits really well, and I think he's happy with it. I think I accidentally added a few repeats on the hood, so I think the hood is actually a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be, but it doesn't. I was worried it was going to look really weird, but it doesn't. It looks fine. So yeah, anyway, this was I'm counting it, since I knit most of the sweater in 2020, I'm counting it as a finished object for 2020. So this was my last sweater that I finished in 2020. And yeah, it's also, I think by yardage, I think this may be the biggest thing I've ever knit. So I think it was close to, well, let me see, I can do the math really quickly. I'm going to use my calculator here. I'm not going to do the mental math, but I used roughly just under 1,600 yards for this sweater. And like, I don't know why it didn't occur to me that this would be like a massive project. Like, it's not just the sweater, it's also the pocket and the hood and all of the edgings. And like, I mean, Nofis is not like a super large person, but he's like bigger than me, and he wanted the sleeves longer, and he wanted it like to have some positive ease. So it ended up just being a bigger project than I expected, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And yeah, it seems like Pillow Nofis is pretty happy with it too. Oh, this is really, really something. So anyway, yeah, that is my first finished object. And then my second finished object I don't have with me anymore. Some of you may have seen this. I think I posted maybe on my Instagram story once, but I also, I think I may have shown it once or twice when I was doing Vlogmas, but I knit a necktie for my brother. So my, actually I may have shown this in the previous podcast episode as a work in progress. I think I did, but I did end up finishing it. So I used some self-striping yarn. I don't have it with me anymore, but maybe I can put a picture of him wearing it up in the video here. But yeah, so I used Nomadic yarns in the Christmas Past colorway. So that was actually leftovers from my my self-striping socks, my Christmas socks that I knit earlier in 2020. So I had actually the perfect amount of leftovers. So I basically ran out of yarn to make that necktie, and it could have gone a little bit longer, but I think it turned out just fine. But I really enjoyed the pattern. I think, I don't know if any of you have knit a necktie before. I've seen patterns where you just kind of like knit a flat piece and then you can kind of see the edges, and I don't love the way that like the edges of the necktie look, but this one was really cool because you knit a bigger piece and then you folded it over and seamed it up the back. So the edges were this nice, like, rounded kind of edge. And it was also, I don't know if this is the right term for this, but it was like knit on the bias. That's what I think of because of like sewing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with sewing and like cutting on the bias, but it was kind of like a rectangle, but it was diagonal, wherein like you start in one corner and then you knit it so that you're doing like increases and decreases kind of like on each round, or each row rather, so that it's still a rectangle, but it's just kind of the stripes were sideways, if that makes sense. And I think it turned out really nice. So I gave that to him for Christmas, and I think he liked it. So that was my only other finished object, and that is, yeah, I think that's all I have. So I guess moving into my current works in progress, I guess, yeah, I mean, I have 3 things that I have worked on a little bit in the last, month or so, but almost all the work has been on just this one sweater, and I'm really sorry, y'all, about the lighting. This is just going to look black. Hopefully I can hold it up so that you guys can see the color at least a little bit, but this is my Plover cardigan, which is a pattern by Jacqueline Cieslak. You cannot really see this at all. Maybe if I hold it into like the light a little bit, you can see that it's like a really beautiful dark teal color. So yeah, the yarn is Grenouille in the Nacht Musik colorway, which is just this gorgeous like dark teal color. You can maybe kind of see it there a little bit. And then the cardigan is knit in half brioche stitch, so it makes this like really beautiful fabric, which is like super stretchy and squishy, and I'm loving it. So I had cast this on a while back, and then I got sidetracked with like Nofis's sweater and also another sweater test knit that I was doing. And so this one just kind of got put on hold, but I picked it back up like right after Christmas and have just been kind of cruising on it since then, which I don't know. I mean, I guess it's been like a month and I haven't finished it. So maybe that's not cruising that fast, but it feels like it's been going pretty fast. So I finished the body. So the pattern there's two different length options. There's like a cropped version and a full length version. And I actually decided to go with almost exactly in the middle of those two. So I wanted it to be, I didn't want it to be completely cropped because I still wanted to be able to wear it like with pants, but I didn't want it to go like really far down. I kind of wanted it to go like a little bit past high-waisted pants, and I wanted it to go like right to the edge of normal rise pants or like skirts, if that makes sense. So I think I got that, although I know that, so I had like knit a swatch. I don't know if I still have my swatch over here. Yeah. I knit a swatch of this like yarn needle size stitch pattern or whatever. And then I actually did block this swatch. This is the first swatch I've ever blocked. I think I talked to you guys about it when I originally cast on this project. And you may not be able to see here, but when I blocked it, it actually blocked out quite a bit. So I pinned it out when I blocked it because I wanted to block it for size. I wanted to see like how much I could stretch it, and it blocked out quite a bit. So the sweater looks kind of small right now. I want it to be a little bit more oversized, and it also looks like a little short, but I think that when I block it, it'll be right. Like it'll be the right length and hopefully the right size. I'm also worried. So I did start the sleeve, the first sleeve, and I'm worried that the sleeve is going to be like too tight on the bicep. I don't know. I wish it was a little bit floofier, but I will probably just like really aggressively block it out so that it's a little wider on the bicep. But yeah, I'm really, really, really enjoying this project. I think I talked about last video. It wasn't a normal podcast, but just when I went through my stash and I talked about my goals, I mentioned that I set a pretty aggressive goal of 8 sweaters for myself this year. And I'm feeling actually pretty decent about that goal because this sweater, I think I'm on pace to finish it in about a month. And this is like fingering weight yarn in a cardigan in like half brioche stitch. So it's definitely slower than like if I was using heavier yarn or if I was just doing stockinette, like in the round, something like that. So I feel pretty good about the pace. Although I do have to say I have been working on this and basically nothing else. So I have a little bit of other stuff that I'll show you in a second, but I don't know, 8 kind of seems doable. So yeah, I'm hoping actually that I can finish this sleeve maybe today or in the next couple days, and then move on to the other one, and that's pretty much it. All I just have left are the sleeves. I've already done, there's like oh, I need to talk about my modifications. So really the only modification, I talked already about the length that I changed. I did it like halfway in between the cropped and the full length versions. And then there's this edging that you do around the entire body. So it goes, it's so dark that you guys probably can't really see this, but you can see maybe a little bit that there's like an edging here. So it's kind of like a button band, but it also goes all the way around the bottom of the sweater and around the neck. So it goes around the top as well. So you like finish the body and then you just like pick up all the stitches around the body and even like connect them in the round. And then you just like knit, I think it was like 8 rows or something. So the pattern calls for that to be done just in normal stockinette. So just like knit every round. But I decided to modify it. I didn't love the way that it was curling in some of the pictures. And so I decided to do twisted rib instead of stockinette. And I actually really, really love the way that it turned out. It's laying really flat. It kind of pulls everything in, and it's very clean and beautiful looking. So yeah, that is that. I still need to put the buttons on and then finish the other sleeve and block it, and that will be done. So hopefully in the next week or so, I will have that done. Okay, then the only other things I've been working on, I've worked a tiny bit on, I'm in the middle of a row, I can't believe that. I don't even remember the last time I worked on this. I think it was over a week ago, but I am knitting the Poet Shawl by Sari Nordlund, and I am using Brooklyn Tweed. Oh gosh, it's the fingering weight one. Is that Loft or Shelter? Loft? I think it's Loft. So yeah, I think this is Brooklyn Tweed Loft, whatever the fingering weight one is. See, this is what happens when I don't make notes. But it's in the Iceberg colorway, which is just this beautiful, like really light blue with specks of like greeny turquoise and like darker blue. I don't know if you guys can see that. And this is just seed stitch. Yeah, so there are like these really nice specks. And yeah, so it's basically, so far, it's just a seed stitch triangle. And last time I showed this, I think I had done, I don't know, I didn't put a marker, so I don't know exactly where I was, but now I've done some more, so the triangle is a little bit bigger. That's all I can say. I still have quite a ways to go before I put in the first lace panel. So yeah, this is just like a triangle asymmetrical shawl that has a few lace panels in it, and the lace panels are the like poet lace pattern that Sari Nordlund has in several of her patterns. I actually am wearing today. You can see the poet socks. I showed these earlier on the podcast. If you're interested in going back and kind of seeing those, but I really love this stitch pattern, and I'm excited to get it in this shawl and to get to that point. But I have not been working on this a ton because I've just been working on my sweater. Okay. I feel like I should maybe move this because it's kind of creepy, but maybe I'll just leave it and we'll just have Pillow in office with us the whole time. Okay, then the last thing that I've been working on, this is a pair of socks. So this was actually my Christmas Eve cast on. I still haven't finished, again, because all my energy is going into the sweater. But so this was my Christmas Eve cast on this year. This is the first time I ever did Christmas Eve cast on, and I think I shared a picture of this in like my Instagram story, so you guys may have seen this already. But this is just a like a basic 3x1 rib sock. I did 10 rows of 1x1 ribbing at the top, and then I did 3x1 ribbing. I did a heel turn and gusset, and then yeah, just a normal. These are top down as they always are for me. The yarn is the North Pole sock set from Woolberry Fiber Company. And I think I talked on the podcast at some point about my journey to purchasing this yarn. It was really something. I attempted it like 3 times and then finally got it. It's so gorgeous. I love this yarn so much. I couldn't be happier with how these are turning out. I'm really excited to wear them next like wintry Christmassy season. But let me put one on the blocker for you. So I finished the first one a little while ago. I basically only work on these at night. So Noctis and I have been kind of a goal of ours, or not really a goal, but just something that we wanted to keep to get back to this year was reading in bed before we sleep. So we've been doing that pretty regularly, and I just have left this project like next to our bed, and I just work on it while we're reading. He reads to me, or if I'm reading by myself, I will listen to an audiobook or something, and I will knit while I do that. So that has basically been the only time I make progress on these, but here it is. My face is in the way. It's probably not going to focus a ton, but you get the point. It's gorgeous. And let me just show you this ball of yarn. I actually wound it by hand. I say I did. My sister helped me. But yeah, we wound it by hand because I was in Oklahoma at the time and I didn't have my winder. but here it is. And it's so gorgeous. Y'all, look at that. Oh my gosh. So pretty. Anyway, yeah, so we wound this up by hand along with the little mini, which is here. And I'm just so happy with it. This color is just so gorgeous. But yeah, so that is really all I have been working on. Here's my in progress one. Last night when we were reading, I just got to the point where I need to add the heel flap. So I'm on pause here until I switch over and add the heel flap. And then I will cruise through the foot and finish it up. But last year I actually knit 12 pairs of socks, and I am not planning to make it through 12 pairs of socks again this year. I'm going to try to prioritize more like garment and sweater knitting. So, I mean, it's almost been a month and I'm in no hurry to like finish these socks. I'm going to just kind of enjoy, go a little bit slower, just knit on them at nights and not kind of push myself to finish them in a month or whatever. So that is that. You may have noticed also, so this is a good segue into the acquisitions portion of the podcast, because I'm done with whips, and also because this is one of my acquisitions. So I got new sock blockers, which I'm really excited about. These were a Christmas gift from my mom. These are the Bryspun sock blockers. I think tons of people have them. I think I sent my mom a link to purchase them from twelfth, which is a yarn store which is local to the Seattle area in Carnation, Washington, a really great yarn store. So yeah, I actually got them from twelfth, but you can find them everywhere. I think you can even get them, well actually I'm not sure, I don't want to say that because I'm not confident, but yeah, you can get them wherever, but I really like them. I was looking for something a little bit nicer than the like older kind of plasticky ones that I have. So those are really nice, and that was a great gift from my mom. A couple other acquisitions that were gifts. This one I'm also really, really excited about. I got a Twig and Horn interchangeable needle case. So it is just a little pouch. It has two sections in it. The bottom section is just like these little pockets that you can put your interchangeable needle tips in. And then the top is just like a zipper pouch. I don't want to hold this up because it's gonna, maybe I can do it like this. But so you can see these like openings, it's like a little zipper pouch, and I put like my cables in it. And what I love about this case, so I have two sets of interchangeable needles. The first set I ever got was a set of Addy clicks. So just their normal Addy turbo, I don't even know if they're turbos. They're just Addy interchangeables, the ones that click in rather than screwing. And I really, really like that set of interchangeables. But so first off, the case that was holding them was a pretty nice case, but I guess just like being in Seattle and like where I had been storing it, it got kind of like gross and like moldy almost. And so I didn't want to like have my needles in that anymore. So there's that. And then I also very recently got a set of interchangeable small circumference chow goos. So they have sizes 4 through 8, and then they have 2 needle tip sizes for each needle size. So they have like really tiny ones and ones that are a little bit longer, and then it comes with like really short cords. So this is what I use for sleeves. So you can actually see these needles right here that I'm knitting the sleeve of my sweater on. This is from my Chowgoo small circumference interchangeable set. So since I had 2 sets of tips, just dropped a needle tip. since I had 2 sets, that's something that I was really excited about with this needle case, is that I can put them all together in one. So I have like one of these pouches has my cords for the chow goose, one has for the addies. I have like enough pockets here that I can put all of the needle tips in, and it just fits beautifully, and it's just beautiful. I don't know, I'm just very, very happy with it. Yeah, this is a really great gift, and I did tell my mom that I wanted it, but she still did a very great job purchasing it for me. So this one is great, and I'm really excited to have it. And then the last acquisition that I wanted to show you, I guess is kind of two, but I got some money from grandparents for yarn as like a Christmas gift, and so I bought some yarn and wanted to show that to you. So I wanted to make the vertical striped sweater by Petite Knit, and I had an idea in my mind that I wanted to be this like really, really pale bluish green color. So like almost the same color as this Iceberg from Brooklyn Tweed. But I had some leftover yarn from my Vertices Unite, which I made out of lichen and lace, and I have this little bit in the beach glass colorway, so I don't know if you can see it very well. Maybe it will focus. I guess it doesn't really have to for you to see the color, but it's this really, really pale, like almost like a creamy whitish gray, but it's like a little bit bluey green, and I love this color. So I decided I would order more of this color from, I would order more of this color from Lichen and Lace, and then also so I have done a couple sweaters, actually including this one, with mohair, so like that silk mohair, but I had never done one with Sari alpaca, which is kind of a comparable like lace weight fuzzy yarn, so I wanted to try out Sari alpaca. So I got some alpaca silk from Drops. They have their it's I don't know if it says here, 77% alpaca, 23% silk. So this is the beach glass lichen and lace, and you can tell actually if you compare it, it's a little bit of a different color. So it's definitely more blue than, it's like just darker and more blue than the one that I had before. And like, there are parts of it that match pretty well, like the lighter parts I think match, but there are just some darker bluer parts. And I really like this, but it isn't exactly what I was wanting or expecting, and so I've been thinking about what to do with it. Here's the Sari alpaca that I got to go with it. So it's this like really nice light bluish gray green color. I don't know if you can see that. Well, yeah, there it is. And I think it would go okay with this. It would be bluer than I was wanting. This was what I was imagining. This is like really pale color. So I got like 9 balls or whatever of the alpaca, and then I have 4 skeins of this beach glass. And I'm not sure what to do, whether I should return this and try to get something that's a little bit less blue, whether I should just go with it, or I've also considered, and maybe this is crazy, and you guys should tell me, please, like, let me know if you've ever done this or if you think I'm crazy for doing this, but I've thought about trying to lighten this, like, either with, like, bleach, or even more naturally, so just, like, waiting until the summer and trying to like sun fade it, so like lay it out in the bright sun and let it kind of fade the color of the yarn to make it just a little bit lighter. Is that wild? I don't know. The bleach scares me. And I've been reading about this a little bit, and like bleaching wool seems like a bad idea, but I could maybe do it with like hydrogen peroxide or something. I don't know. Maybe any of you who have like experience dyeing yarn, if you've ever like tried to lighten it, let me know, and tell me if I'm it's not possible, and I should stop thinking about this. Because I do want to say though, like, yes, this is different from what I was expecting. I still really do like the color. And I completely understand that, like, hand dyeing yarn, it's not always going to come out exactly the same. And like, I'm not unhappy with the yarn dyer. Like, I totally understand that this happens. It's different from the skein that I had before, but like, I'm not trying to match them for the same project. So it's not a huge deal. I just like had this color in mind. But, and this color is beautiful. I may just use it and be happy with it, but I'm still thinking about it. I'm going to give it some time. I'm not going to start this sweater next. So I'm going to let it sit for a little bit. But that is my last acquisition. It's just this yarn for the vertical stripes sweater. So I think, yeah, that is all of the knitting content that I have for you all. Let's see. Normally I talk a little bit at the end about some life stuff and some baseball stuff, but it feels like this has been kind of long already, so maybe I won't go super into that. And it's also been a while, so there's lots of life stuff and also quite a bit of baseball stuff, but I didn't really make notes on anything that I wanted to make sure to talk about today. I will say, for those of you that follow our Sunday breakfasts, today's Sunday breakfast was some very lovely challah French toast. So a couple friends of ours made us some challah, and we made it into French toast this morning. It was very lovely, so we really enjoyed that. And let's see, what else have we been up to? Like, not a lot exciting, just kind of like getting back into our routine, into our work lives. The weather has actually been not awful. It hasn't been raining a ton here, so we've been trying to get outside while we can. We did have, so I don't think I talked about this on the podcast, but like right before we left to go to Oklahoma, so we drove to Oklahoma, which is a very long drive. It's like a 2,000-mile drive there, and we drove back. So put a lot of miles on the car. But right before we left, we went to get my car kind of like checked and do our routine maintenance and stuff. And there was a ton of stuff that had to be done. One of those things was that my car needed new tires. So we got new tires shortly before leaving, and we were glad that we did that because we went through like a little bit, it wasn't bad, but a little bit of like snow and ice on the way there and on the way back. So it was nice to have like really nice new tires on the car. Anyway, a couple days ago, so I think it was actually Friday, Nofis took the car to go pick up dinner, and he came back and he said that like the tire pressure light was on and that it felt weird when he was driving the car. Like the steering felt weird. So he went and had it checked out, and it turns out that there was a nail in our tire. But the nail wasn't even like in the tire like normal, like on the bottom. It was kind of through the side, but like on the inside of the car. I don't even know how to describe this, but there was a nail in the tire, our brand new tire that we've literally had for like a month. But luckily we were able to go and like get the tire replaced under warranty, and it wasn't a big deal. But that is what we spent most of yesterday doing, because we had to go drop the car off, and then we actually went, it was pretty sunny yesterday, so we went and we were just kind of outside. Nofis was, we didn't go to like a disc golf course, but we went to like a field, and he was just like throwing discs, and I did some knitting outside in the sun, and that was really nice. But it may have been our last kind of sunny day for a while, so that's kind of a bummer. But it hasn't been super rainy. I think we may actually get some snow here in a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's not a lot else for me to chat about. They're in the baseball world, and in terms of, I guess, what's been going on there since I last podcasted. I'm sure there have been tons of like trades and free agent signings and stuff, none of which are I'm gonna chat about here. Some maybe potentially heavy stuff to cover during a knitting podcast, so if you're not really interested, please feel free to tune out. But about a week ago, a article was published revealing some pretty nefarious activity for a high-level executive within like the baseball industry. So Jared Porter, is his name, is had just been hired as the general manager of the Mets, but has been working in baseball for a long time. And he previously had worked with like the Red Sox and the Cubs and the Diamondbacks. So he's been there. He's been around the game for a long time, and I think was pretty widely like well respected. But an article was published revealing some text messages that he had sent to a female reporter, a woman who actually was not native to this country, and English was not even her first language. And he had basically been like sexually harassing her, including some like very inappropriate photos that he had sent her. And just, it was really difficult to like read that, because clearly like he was taking advantage of the power dynamic. He was in a position of power in baseball, but also he was taking advantage of the fact that she was not like natively from this country. Her English was not, she wasn't a native English speaker. And so I think, fortunately, Jared Porter was fired from his position with the Mets, and so it was really good to see that action being taken, but it has also been, I guess, weighing on me a little bit, just kind of being a part of this industry and seeing this happen to women. And also I want to emphasize the point that like, not only was he taking advantage of her being a woman, but also taking advantage, I know I mentioned this several times, but also taking advantage of the fact that she was not a native English speaker, and also like the cultural differences there. So really pretty disappointing and heavy stuff, and stuff that's been weighing on me over the last week a little bit. So, I guess I just wanted to mention it here because I think it's important to continue like thinking about and having these conversations, even though most of y'all are not like super invested in the baseball industry. It has been kind of on my mind and weighing on me a little bit, and I wanted to, I guess, just address it here because I do say that we talk about baseball a little bit here. So anyway, other than that, there's not a lot else that I kind of wanted to cover, life, baseball, otherwise. But it does feel good to be back here recording a podcast. It feels like it's been a while that I've had this normal setup, sitting on the couch and talking to you all. So thank you for your patience. I know I have been a little bit less regular the last couple months with the holidays, and I know that's probably normal or expected or whatever, but I do really appreciate your patience with that, and I look forward to chatting with you all soon. So yeah, thank you all, and I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball, and have a great week. Thanks. Bye.